My dad is all about family. Both of my brothers work for him and earn an excellent living. When I was old enough, I started working for him too. The slight difference is that he decided that since I'm a woman, I would probably end up getting married and not working there long term. So he paid me differently than my brothers when they started. I worked there all through high school, and while I was in college. I'm in my last year, and I want to join the company when I graduate. I spoke with my father about bringing my earnings in line with what he paid my brothers. He said no, because he had just finished paying for my college. He paid theirs too, and I got a partial scholarship. I've had enough. I've had 6 years of experience, and I'll have my degree in June. So I started looking for work elsewhere. I found a paid internship with a company that competes with him. He's a big fish locally, but my employer is a national company. Now he's angry at me for taking everything I learned from him and taking it to the competitor. I never worked with clients, so it's not like I'll poach any. I'm doing what all my friends are doing, getting a job in our field that pays well. My dad is angry and my mom says that he's hurt that I betrayed him, but I think I gave him a chance to be fair, and he turned me down. So I have no reason to feel guilty. So am I the idiot for going to work for his competitor? Not the idiot. Your father is a complete idiot, treating his daughter differently from his sons due to his own bias. You asked your father for the same pay as your brothers. He refused. You found a solution. Did your mom try to tell your father to treat everyone fairly, or did she agree with his misogynistic pay practices? Seconded, where was your mom in all of this prior to you leaving? Because if she's piping up now when your dad is angry, well, she can advocate for your father, but not you, her daughter? Really? Well, in that case, if she can't defend you as a fellow woman or as a mother, she really has no right to be passing any comment. Yep, exactly. They can't preach betrayal to you when they started it. Plus, the wage thing was just the start. We all know this idiot father will leave the business to her brothers, not her. She's much better off establishing herself where she's appreciated for her skills, instead of being looked down on because she's a woman. And it was her father who betrayed her. He should have had her back instead of teaching her that she's a second-class citizen. Excellent point. It also makes me wonder which child Daddy assumes will take on the caregiving responsibilities for himself and his wife when they grow old. I'm guessing the female child that he pays less than his male children for doing the same job. His heirs will be too busy running the company. I, 22, am in college. I live in a rental apartment with my roommate, Simon, 28, and his preschool-age son. The mother of the child is deceased, and he got together with his now ex-girlfriend, but broke up 4 months ago. He was expecting a baby with her, and the baby was born this past Wednesday. I was in the middle of studying and preparing for my exam when Simon barged in, telling me his ex-girlfriend's mom had just called him and said she was in labor and he had to go to the hospital. He started begging me to take his son for a few hours, probably till midnight, so he could be there for his baby's birth. I declined and said I had so little time left and needed to focus on studying. He begged, saying that I wouldn't even feel his son's presence, but the kid is so hyperactive and hard to deal with, basically. He started raising his voice at me, saying I was being mean for no reason and that he had no one he knew who could take his son. I told him he could have prepared for this by hiring a babysitter. He started going off, saying that I was being unhelpful on purpose. I told him to get out of my room. He said he'd just leave the kid with me then. I told him I'd call the cops as soon as he did that, which made him back off. He was fuming. He took his son and left, and came back the next day, telling me that I just caused him to miss the birth of his baby, and that he'll never forgive me for what I'd done. He's been avoiding me since it happened. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If he had asked you in advance, or his babysitter dropped out, that would be different. The fact that he knew the baby would arrive at some point and didn't make any arrangements makes him the idiot for springing it on you. What would he have done if you weren't home? Was that his plan all along, to just drop the child on you? Crazy. You don't know when a person's going into labor, and you can't exactly book a babysitter for on call. I'm very disturbed by people who refuse to help others in emergencies. It's really disturbing to see, and demonstrates the strong lack of community and care for others in society. Not even in society, but people in your actual community, in your actual home. It's not your fault, but you could have helped. You're well within your rights to say no, and you're not the worst person, but this is a solid idiot move. You better not even ask him for a cup of sugar moving forward. Good grief, where's people's compassion nowadays? You say that, but where's the compassion for OP in their life course? They didn't decide to have 2 kids. They didn't choose for a man 6 years their senior to be vastly unprepared for the arrival of a second child. He's had one before. OP didn't cause Simon to miss anything. He caused it himself. Where's any of the other parents' parents? Do they not have any other family at all? No other friends? No one? Be fair though, his son's mother died, so he's a widowed dad, which of course would make finances tight, and later got a girlfriend. None of that points to him being some kind of social outcast or player. Maybe he's far from family. He definitely needed to make a plan for the baby's birth, but nothing in his circumstances suggests the kind of judgment you're making of him. I, 29 female, am a pro boxer, though probably in my last year or 2 of active competing now. My boyfriend, 35, is supportive of my career and is a total gem. We live on the opposite coast of his family, and he's had a sour relationship with his dad for years, so I've never met them. Over the last year, though, his parents have been trying to patch things up, so when he mentioned that we would be in a nearby city for one of my matches, they wanted to get together for a family dinner. I was actually excited about it. I don't have family, and his family is huge, so I always wondered what that was like. We originally tried to schedule the dinner for before the match because I look a mess for a couple of days after a match sometimes, but they had a conflict, so we set it up for a couple of days before we flew out to give me some recovery time. I didn't get that badly banged up, but there's just no hiding face bruises and cuts. My boyfriend already gave the parents a heads up about what to expect, but I don't think they took it seriously. We get there and his mom looks really uncomfortable, and his dad is just staring at me. Some of his siblings and their families were there, and I got mobbed by the nieces and nephews, who all had about 1,000,000 questions, and that's where I might have messed up. I told them about boxing and showed them a video on my phone of part of my fight so they'd understand why I looked hurt, and assured them that I was fine. It impressed the heck out of a couple of the nieces because they spent the entire dinner asking me questions and were amazed that girls could do stuff like that. His dad tried to shift the conversation several times, got pretty annoyed by it, and then said it was good that I was thinking about retiring and getting on with a real life soon. Then I'd have time to get a household together and start a family with my boyfriend. I told him that at most, I would shift into being a trainer, and I'd already got the life I wanted. His mom commented on it being a shame I was bruising up my pretty face, and I joked that this was my winner's face. She should have seen the other woman. The whole thing was just uncomfortable and weird, except for the kids and one of his sisters. When we got home, my boyfriend checked his text and immediately called and yelled at his parents. I found out later that his mom told him I was inappropriate and bad for the kids. One of his brothers asked if he would bring Barbarian Barbie back to Christmas because his kids were bouncing off the walls. But his cool sister told him that their daughter was already asking when Auntie OP would return. It really has caused a major problem between my boyfriend and his parents, and I'm wondering if I should have just kept the boxing stuff to myself. Am I the idiot? Barbarian Barbie sounds like a pretty great name to me. In any case, you're not the idiot. Your boyfriend gave the family a heads up and still decided to move the dinner from before your fight to after. You have nothing to be ashamed of. I feel bad for some of those kids though. It must suck having such narrow-minded, stifling parents and grandparents. You are showing everyone that women can be both tough and beautiful. The younger kids are so pure that they see right through the gender aspect of that sport and saw an athlete, boxing, and enjoyed it very much. His parents are so old-fashioned that they should be living in the 1930s. Keep doing you and keep that supportive partner of yours. He's a keeper. You're an athlete and a winner. How does this make you a bad influence on little girls? I'm proud as heck of you. You have a career and a real life right now, and you don't need to meet an absurd expectation about feminine grace, poise, and beauty. Why hide your light under some prehistoric bushel? That's silly to me. Live your life and enjoy the life you're living. I'm getting married next spring. My friend Aubrey is a bridesmaid. Aubrey has heavy psoriasis and is self-conscious about it. She's wearing a long-sleeve dress in the wedding, at her own request. At the time, the only visible places were her arms and legs. In recent months, it's developed on her scalp. She's had to buy a special shampoo so the patches and flakes don't show in her hair. Once again, she's super self-conscious. According to her, doing the treatment herself hurts and makes her feel worse. Her dermatologist prescribed a special shampoo and conditioner to help loosen it so she could brush and comb it out. She does what she can do. It doesn't look too bad, but sometimes she just gives up and the flakes show. They're big, plaque-like flakes that pop up on her scalp. She wears a lot of hats and hoodies. The thing is, I wouldn't have minded her wearing a short-sleeved dress and showing her flakes and plaques on her arms and legs, as it's not an issue. However, her hair often looks unkempt because you can't see the redness, just the flakes. It's her hair, so I don't care about every other day except my wedding. I originally told the girls I don't care how they do their hair. They don't have to use my stylist and they can do it themselves, even if they don't do anything special. However, with Aubrey, I feel it's not too much to ask that she treats it. I spoke to my stylist and asked if she knew anyone who could help. She has an associate at her salon specializing in scalp psoriasis. She'd be willing to do the treatment on Aubrey's scalp the day before, giving it time to heal and relax before the wedding. I spoke with Aubrey and explained the procedure. I said I'd be willing to pay for it. She got super embarrassed and reminded me how much it hurts. I said I understood, but that was her doing it. The stylist says that she can do it in a way which may hurt a little, as if it's removing a decent amount of plaque, but she'll be gentle. Aubrey told me no, even when I gave her the stylist's number to talk about it in detail. I tried to be reasonable and said the options were the stylist doing it or Aubrey herself would have to do it. She got really upset and said I'm not a true friend if I can't accept her as is. She's now not returning my calls or text. I feel bad that I hurt her, and I'm wondering if this was an unreasonable request. Am I the idiot? I told my friend that I wanted her to go through a painful and unnecessary treatment because aesthetics. Am I the idiot? Yeah, you are the idiot. Also, try it for the first time the day before the wedding. I have psoriasis. It's well controlled, but there's no way I'd try a new treatment the day before an important event with photos. It's unpredictable. Do some research on psoriasis, then try again to have some empathy for your friend. Imagine, how would it feel if your friend asked you to scrape the skin off your face? Imagine you have acne and have had it all your life so bad that you get medicated for it, use medicated creams, and still sometimes it flares up. You feel disgusting and hide behind masks. You think all is well until a friend has the audacity to ask you to go through an incredibly painful procedure and embarrasses you by offering to pay for having your face scraped off just to be in her wedding. Did you have all your bridal party sign a contract giving up their bodily autonomy? You've asked her to do something to her body, something that you know hurts. How would this affect your wedding at all? Brides like this should just hire a guild of actors and actresses instead of their supposed loved ones and friends. Let me be clear. You're not the idiot for finding out about the stylist and her specialty, then offering it as an option to your friend. You're the idiot for demanding that your friend treat her conditions on your terms. You know, psoriasis is supposed to be worsened by stress, so stop adding to it. Arby will remember how you made her feel though, so apologize and hope she's gracious enough to accept. I, 24 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 29, for about a year and a half and have been living together for 6 months. I have a well-paying job, but my boyfriend is looking for a PhD position, so he's working part-time, delivering medicines and volunteering at the university. When we moved in together, we agreed to put 50% of our salaries into a joint account for expenses like rent and groceries, and the rest of the 50% into our personal accounts. Since I make thrice as much as him, I have more fun money, but it also means I'm contributing a lot more to our joint account. One thing I like to treat myself to is body bath products from this really expensive brand. I pay for them using my personal account and buy less expensive products for my boyfriend using our joint account. Recently, I started smelling these products on my boyfriend. They have a strong, distinct smell. So I asked him if he had used them. He said he only uses them a few times a month, so I let it go, as that's fine. However, I started smelling them on him all the time and also realized I was running out way quicker than usual. So I confronted him, and he admitted that he prefers my products over his, so he uses them daily. I said no problem, but I'll be paying for them using our joint account from now on. Well, he freaked out. He said he couldn't afford them, and since I have more money in my personal account, I can't afford them. However, I think it's unfair as I'm already paying so much towards our joint account that I would like to use my money for my own things and savings. Also, it's not like I asked him to contribute more than he does towards the joint account. We can afford these products together after our other expenses. It will just cut through a bit from our joint savings. We got into a huge fight, and he said that I'm financially abusing him. He got our friends involved, and they're split. They think I should be considerate of his feelings, as I make much more than him and can easily afford the products on my own. Now he stopped using the products as a protest, and I feel terrible. Not the idiot. How can you be financially abusing him by expecting him to pay half when he's using half? He's the one who started using your products every day without asking, after saying he only used them rarely, and he's the one who decided by himself without telling you that you should 100% be subsidizing his use of your luxury items. He doesn't need these things. If he wants to indulge, he should at the very least ask. And if he wants to make luxury products his everyday experience, then he can pay for them. It's not like the alternative is scrubbing himself with thistles picked from the side of the road. He just doesn't get to smell extra nice every day for free. It's also super crazy that he got their friends involved about bath products. This is manipulative and immature. I really don't think his issue starts and stops at toiletries. If he's upset enough to cry financial abuse, which it's decidedly not by the way, something more is going on. I think it's more likely that he resents her living the good life in front of him. OP, you should seriously think about this relationship. A marriage is a financial partnership, as well as an emotional and intimate partnership. The dude volunteered to be broke his whole life and have no job opportunities, demanding you subsidize his life, and is pitching tantrums about his self-chosen financial limitations already. At the bare minimum, you need an ironclad prenup.